The store owner came to collect a payment, but the scene he saw made him cry. Michael knocked on the wooden door 3 times, adjusting the apron he still wore after an exhausting day at the hardware store. The sound echoed through the narrow hallway of the old building, mixing with the distant noise of televisions and conversations from other apartments. It was almost 8 in the evening, and he knew it wasn't the ideal time to collect payments, but his store's situation was becoming unsustainable. Amanda Johnson's bill was 3 months overdue. $240 might seem insignificant to those who'd never faced hardship, but for him, it meant the difference between keeping the doors open or closing the business he'd inherited from his father for good. Michael took a deep breath, preparing for yet another difficult conversation about deadlines and installments. When the door opened, he expected to find Amanda with some ready excuse, perhaps another request for an extension. He didn't expect the scene that unfolded before his eyes. A thin woman with deep dark circles marking her tired face, holding 2 small children who seemed to be sharing a single bowl of watery soup. "Good evening, Amanda," Michael said, feeling a lump form in his throat. "I came to talk about the bill, I know," she interrupted, lowering her eyes. "Please come in. Sorry for the mess." Michael hesitated at the door. The apartment was small, with old and worn-out furniture. Broken toys scattered on the floor told the story of a family trying to maintain normalcy amid hardship. The 2 children, a boy about 4 years old and a slightly younger girl, looked at him curiously, their thin cheeks revealing a lack of proper nourishment. "Mom, who is it?" the boy asked, gripping his spoon tightly. "It's Mr. Michael from the hardware store," Amanda replied, smoothing her disheveled hair. "Keep eating." Michael glanced at the makeshift table where the children were eating. It was a wooden board resting on 2 chairs, and the meal consisted of soup that seemed mostly water with a few vegetable pieces. The children ate slowly, savoring each spoonful as if it were the most precious thing in the world. "Amanda, Michael began, but his words trailed off when he saw the girl offer half her portion to her brother. "Here, Ethan, you're hungrier than me," the little girl said, pushing the bowl toward her brother. "No, Emma. Mom said we each eat our own share," the boy replied, pushing the bowl back. Amanda looked away, clearly embarrassed by the situation. She pulled out an old chair and motioned for Michael to sit, but he remained standing, watching the scene unfold before him. "I was making tea. Would you like a cup?" Amanda offered, trying to maintain politeness despite the circumstances. "No, thank you," Michael replied, still processing what he was seeing. "Amanda, about the bill. I know it's late. I know it's been 3 months," she interrupted, her voice trembling. "But I swear I'll find a way to pay. It's just, things have been hard since Robert." She stopped speaking, glancing at the children. Michael realized there was a story behind this situation, one she didn't want to share in front of them. "Mom, we're done," Ethan announced, showing his empty bowl. "I'm finished too," Emma said, though a little soup remained in her bowl. Amanda stood up and collected the bowls, washing them in a small sink in the corner of the room that also served as the kitchen. Michael noticed there was nothing left for her to eat. "Aren't you going to eat anything else?" Michael asked, directing the question to the children. "We already had dinner," Emma replied, smiling. "Mom makes the best soup in the world." Ethan nodded enthusiastically, as if he truly believed it. Michael felt a tightness in his chest as he realized how children could find joy even in hardship. "And you, Amanda? Aren't you going to eat?" Michael insisted. "I'd already ate earlier at work," she lied, avoiding his gaze. Michael recognized that lie. He had faced similar struggles as a child, after his father fell ill and before the hardware store started turning a profit. He knew the silent sacrifice of a mother who went without to ensure her children had something in their stomachs. "Kids, why don't you go play in the bedroom for a little while? Mr. Michael and I need to talk," Amanda said, forcing a smile. "Can I take the toy car?" Ethan asked, pointing to a plastic car with a broken wheel. "Of course, sweetheart. Take whatever toys you want." The children left the room, and Michael could hear their cheerful voices coming from the next room. It was amazing how happy they seemed, despite everything. "Please, sit down," Amanda asked once they were alone. Michael settled into the chair, which creaked under his weight. Amanda sat across from him, her hands clasped on the table. Before you say anything, I want you to know I'm not trying to deceive you, she began. I really do want to pay what I owe. Those materials were to fix the roof in the kids' room. It was leaking and they were sleeping wet every time it rained. Michael nodded, remembering the purchase. Roofing tiles, waterproofing, and some nails. Nothing too expensive, but essential for a family with young children. What happened, Amanda? 3 months ago you were up to date on everything, Michael asked with genuine concern. Amanda took a deep breath before answering. Robert, my husband, had to leave, not by choice, you understand. He found out he had an old debt with some dangerous men, the kind who don't take no for an answer. He had to leave town to protect us. Michael felt a chill in his stomach. He knew stories like this, of families torn apart by debts to loan sharks. He sends money when he can, but it's never enough. And I work at a sewing factory, but my paycheck barely covers rent and the basics for the kids, Amanda continued, tears welling in her eyes. How much do you make? Michael asked. $600 a month. Rent is $350. That leaves $250 for everything else. Food, medicine, transportation, clothes for the kids who keep growing. Michael did the math in his head. It was impossible to support a family with 2 children on so little. And yet, she had managed to buy the materials to fix the roof, putting her children's well-being first. Why didn't you come to me sooner? You could have talked to me about the situation, Michael said. Shame, she answered simply. Shame to admit I couldn't pay such a small bill. Shame to ask for help. My pride wouldn't let me. Just then, Emma appeared in the bedroom doorway holding a crayon drawing. Mommy, look what I made for you, the little girl said, holding out the paper. Amanda took the drawing, which showed 3 figures holding hands under a yellow sun. Clearly it was her and the 2 children. It's beautiful, sweetheart, Amanda said, kissing her daughter's forehead. I'll put it right here on the fridge. Emma smiled and ran back to the bedroom. Michael watched Amanda stick the drawing on the old fridge, next to other children's artwork. It was a little gallery of color and joy in that simple home. They're too young to understand the situation, Amanda remarked. I try to keep everything normal for them. I don't want them to feel their father's absence more than they already do. Do they know where he is? Asked Michael. You know he traveled for work and will be a while before he comes back. It's better this way, at least until they're older and can understand. Michael stayed silent for a few minutes, taking in the details of the apartment. Despite the obvious poverty, there was love in every corner. The children's clothes, though old, were clean and well cared for. The apartment, though small and with worn-out furniture, was tidy and clean. Amanda, about the bill, sir, Michael began. I know you need the money. I know everyone has their own bills to pay, she interrupted. But I'm begging you, give me 1 more month. Just 1 more month. I'll figure out a way to get the money. How? Asked Michael, not in a demanding tone, but with genuine curiosity. I'll try to do some sewing at home at night, after the kids are asleep, or maybe find a weekend job. Something. Michael could see the desperation in her eyes. It was the desperation of a mother who would do anything for her children, but was reaching the limit of her strength. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. When was the last time you ate a full meal? Michael asked. The question caught Amanda off guard. Why are you asking? Answer me, when was it? Amanda looked away, clearly uncomfortable. I eat. Maybe not always at the same time as the kids, but I eat. Amanda, fine, the day before yesterday. I ate properly the day before yesterday at lunch. A co-worker brought too much food and shared it with me. Michael felt his heart tighten. The day before yesterday meant she had gone 2 days eating only the bare minimum to survive, saving all the food for her children. And you think you can work properly, take care of 2 kids, and still sew at night without eating? Enough? I'll figure it out, she replied with a determination that impressed Michael. Amanda, I'm going to make you an offer, but first I want you to hear me out, okay? She nodded, intrigued. I'm canceling your debt, the $240. You don't owe me anything anymore. Amanda's eyes widened. No, Michael, I won't accept charity. I'll pay what I owe. It's not charity, it's an investment. Let me explain. Michael leaned forward, choosing his words carefully. I need someone to organize the stockroom at the hardware store on Saturday afternoons. It's a 4-hour job and I pay $50. Are you in? Amanda thought for a moment. But what about the kids? I don't have anyone to watch them on Saturday. They can come along. The store has a back area where they can play while you work. It's safe. Are you doing this out of pity for me? Asked Amanda, her pride wounded. I'm doing it because I need help and you need work. It's a fair exchange. And about the debt, here's the deal. You work 5 Saturdays and the $240 is cleared. But starting the 6th Saturday, the money is yours. Deal? Amanda stayed silent for a few minutes, clearly torn between need and pride. Are you sure you're not doing this just out of pity? Amanda, I inherited this store from my father. He always said a business's success isn't measured just by profit, but also by the lives we can touch in a positive way. Would you give me the chance to honor his memory? That approach worked. Amanda wiped the tears forming in her eyes. All right, I accept, but I want it clear that I'll work hard on Saturdays. I won't slack off just because you're being nice to me. I wouldn't expect anything less, Michael smiled. At that moment, Ethan appeared in the living room carrying a worn-out storybook. Mom, will you read to us today? Of course, sweetheart. Just let me finish talking with Mr. Michael. What story are you going to read? Asked Michael, curious. Beauty and the Beast, Ethan replied excitedly. It's my favorite. Why is it your favorite? Michael continued. Because in the end, everyone is happy. And because Belle sees that the monster wasn't bad, just sad, the boy explained with the innocent wisdom of children. Michael felt a lump in his throat. There was a depth to that answer that moved him deeply. It really is a good story, Michael agreed. Well, I'll let you read. Amanda, can you come by the store tomorrow morning? I'll show you how the inventory organization works. Can it be after lunch? I work at the factory in the morning. Of course. How about 2 in the afternoon? Perfect. Michael. Thank you, really? No need to thank me. We're going to help each other, okay? Michael headed for the door but turned back to Ethan before leaving. Ethan, can I give you some advice? The boy nodded seriously. Always take good care of your mum and your sister, okay? You're the man of the house now. I will, Mr. Michael. I always take care of them. Michael left the apartment with a heavy heart, but also a strange sense of hope. The whole way home, he couldn't shake the image of the 2 children sharing that thin soup as if it were a feast. When he got home, he found his wife Jennifer watching TV in the living room. How did collecting the payment go? She asked, not taking her eyes off the screen. Complicated, Michael replied, sitting beside her. Did the woman give some lame excuse? Actually, no. Jennifer, turn off the TV for a minute. Jennifer was surprised by her husband's serious tone and turned it off. What happened? Michael told Jennifer everything, from the scene he witnessed to the offer he'd made to Amanda. When he finished, Jennifer was silent for a few minutes. You cancelled a $240 debt just like that for free. Technically, she's working it off, but yes, that's the gist of it. Michael, we have bills to pay too. The store isn't swimming in money, Jennifer said, worried. I know, but Jennifer, you should have seen those kids. They were sharing soup that was basically water, and still looked happy, and their mother was going hungry so they could eat. Jennifer sighed. I understand you were moved by the situation, but what if she takes advantage of your kindness? What if she doesn't show up to work? Then I'll have learned a valuable lesson about trusting people, but I have a feeling she won't let me down. How can you be so sure? By the way she looked at her children, by the sacrifice she was making for them. A person like that isn't dishonest, Jennifer. Jennifer was thoughtful for a few minutes. All right, we'll see how it goes. But Michael, if this goes wrong, we can't keep supporting everyone who comes along with a sad story. I agree, but what if it works? What if we really help this family? Then it'll be wonderful, Jennifer admitted. I'm just trying to be practical. I know, and I love you for that. But sometimes we need to follow our hearts, not just logic. The next morning, Michael arrived at the store earlier than usual. He spent the morning organizing the back of the shop, creating a safe space where Amanda's children could play while she worked. He moved some heavy boxes, swept the floor, and even improvised a small table where they could draw. At exactly 2 in the afternoon, Amanda arrived with her 2 children. Ethan and Emma were clean and tidy, wearing clothes that, though simple, were well cared for. Amanda was wearing faded jeans and a basic blouse, but she still looked presentable. Punctual, Michael noted. I like that. My grandmother always said punctuality is the first sign of respect, Amanda replied. Michael showed the kids around the hardware store, explaining which areas were safe and which they should avoid. Ethan and Emma listened carefully, asking smart questions and showing they understood the instructions. Now I'll show your mom how the inventory works, Michael told the kids. You can play back here, but always where your mom can see you. Okay. Yes, Mr. Michael, they answered in unison. Michael took Amanda to the storage room, where he explained the organization system that needed to be implemented. Basically, I need all materials sorted by category and size, nails with nails, screws with screws, and so on. I also need an inventory of what's here. Seems simple, Amanda said, sizing up the task. It'll take about 4 hours, though. Exactly. And if you finish early, you can help with other things in the store. Answering phones, organizing the front shelves. I know how to handle customers. I worked at a clothing store for 2 years before going to the factory. Even better. Amanda, there's something I want to make clear. You're not here out of charity. You're here because I really need the help. Got it? Thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me. Amanda started working with a dedication that impressed Michael. She didn't just sort the materials. She also cleaned the shelves, checked expiration dates, and took detailed notes on everything she found. The kids played quietly in the back, occasionally coming over to show a drawing or ask a question. Around 4 in the afternoon, a customer came in looking for a specific shower part. Michael was busy with another customer when he heard Amanda's voice. Can I help you, sir? She offered. I'm looking for a pressure valve for my shower. It's leaking, the customer explained. What brand is your shower? Amanda asked. The customer told her the brand, and to Michael's surprise, Amanda knew exactly where the part was and efficiently helped the customer. How did you know where that was? Michael asked after the customer left. When I was organizing, I paid attention to where everything was, and that kind of part is pretty common. Robert was always buying them for odd plumbing jobs. Michael was impressed by Amanda's initiative and intelligence. She wasn't just an employee putting in hours, she was genuinely engaged in the work. By the end of the day, when Amanda finished organizing the entire inventory, Michael was amazed at the result. Everything was perfectly categorized, clean and labeled. She'd done in 4 hours what he'd been putting off for months. Amanda, this is excellent. Much better than I expected. Thank you. It was nice to work on something different from the factory. There, it's always the same thing, sewing the same piece all day. How are the kids with work? Michael asked, glancing at Ethan and Emma as they put away their makeshift toys. They're great. They behaved perfectly the whole time. I think they liked having a new space to play. Michael paid her the agreed $50, noticing how her eyes lit up when she took the money. It was clear those $50 made a huge difference in her budget. Same time next Saturday? Michael asked. We'll be here, Amanda confirmed. Throughout the week, Michael couldn't stop thinking about Amanda's situation. On Thursday, he decided to stop by the supermarket and buy a few things that could spare from the store. A package of cookies close to expiration, some fruit. He'd bought too much of for home, things he could offer without it seeming like direct charity. The following Saturday, when Amanda arrived with the kids, Michael had to hold back from showing how shocked he felt. The 2 children were noticeably thinner, and Amanda looked exhausted. Is everything okay with you all? He asked, concerned. Yes, everything's fine, Amanda replied quickly but avoided looking directly at him. Amanda, forgive me for asking, but are you eating properly? We are. It's just the factory delayed payment this week, but they said they'll fix it by Monday. Michael immediately understood what that meant. They'd gone the whole week practically without food, waiting for the late paycheck. Look, I brought some things that were left over at home, Michael said, trying to sound casual. Cookies, some fruit, a few things Jennifer bought too much of. Take them so they don't go to waste. Amanda hesitated, clearly torn between need and pride. For heaven's sake, Amanda, they'll spoil anyway. You'd be doing me a favor, Michael insisted. Okay, she agreed, tears in her eyes. Ethan and Emma were overjoyed when they saw the fruit and cookies, a reaction that broke Michael's heart. It was obvious they hadn't had sweets or fresh fruit in a long time. While Amanda worked that Saturday, Michael watched the children playing. Despite their hunger and hardships, they were still happy kids, making up games with whatever they found, laughing and having genuine fun. In the middle of the afternoon, Ethan approached Michael. "Mr. Michael, can I ask you something?" "Of course, Ethan, go ahead." "Are you nice to my mom because you want to date her?" The question caught Michael off guard, and he had to think carefully about his answer. "No, Ethan, I'm already married. I'm nice to your mum because she's a good, hard-working person and because you kids are special." "Oh, okay. Say it's just that at school some boys say when a man is nice to a single mum, it's because he wants to date her. It's not always like that. Sometimes people are kind just because it's the right thing to do. Like in Beauty and the Beast. The monster helped Beauty because he was good, not because he wanted something." "Exactly. You're very smart, Ethan." The boy smiled and went back to playing, seemingly satisfied with the explanation. But the conversation left Michael thoughtful. It was natural for the kids to be confused by kindness from strangers, especially considering their father's absence. When Amanda finished work that day, Michael decided to bring up something he'd been thinking about all week. "Amanda, can I make a suggestion?" "Sure. How about you come work here on Fridays too, just part-time, about 3 hours. I could pay $40. "Michael, you don't have to make up work for me." "I'm not making it up. Fridays always have a rush of people buying materials for weekend projects. I could use help with customers and keeping the store organized." Amanda thought for a moment. "What about the kids?" "They've already shown they behave." "Well, here. And Friday afternoons aren't too busy. I think it could work. All right, let's try it." And so began a routine that changed the lives of everyone involved. Amanda started working Friday afternoons and Saturdays, always with the kids. Gradually, she proved to be an exceptional employee with a natural talent for customer service and organization. Customers began to enjoy being helped by her. Amanda had endless patience for explaining how to use the products, and her life experience helped her understand the needs of the people who came into the store. In no time, Michael noticed that the days Amanda worked had higher sales. She not only served customers well, but also naturally suggested complementary products without being pushy. But the most significant transformation was happening in the children themselves. Ethan and Emma began to behave as if the store were an extension of their home. They knew where every product was located, helped keep things organized, and even greeted regular customers. One day, an elderly customer came into the store looking for a specific screw to fix a chair. Michael was in the back when he heard Emma's voice. "Hi, Mrs. Margaret. Did you come to buy something?" "Hello, sweetheart. I'm looking for a tiny screw to fix a broken chair." "Ethan," Emma called out, "Mrs. Margaret needs a screw for a chair." Ethan came running and, with the seriousness of an adult, began asking the customer about the type of chair and the screw that had broken. Within minutes, he had found exactly what she needed. "My, you two are born salespeople," Mrs. Margaret laughed as she paid for her purchase. "We don't sell, Mrs. Margaret, we help," Emma corrected, with the innocence typical of her age. When Michael heard the story, he was moved. The children were learning far more than he had imagined, and they were becoming part of the community that frequented the store. But not everything was rosy. In the 4th week, Amanda came to work visibly upset. She tried to hide it, but Michael could tell something was wrong. "Amanda, did something happen?" "No, everything's fine," she replied, but her shaky voice gave her away. "Are you sure? You're trembling." Amanda hesitated before answering. "It's just, I got news from Robert. It's not good." "What happened?" "The men he owes money to found out where he was. He had to run away again, and now they're looking for me and the kids." Michael felt a chill in his stomach. "What do you mean, looking for you?" "They showed up at my old address. Luckily, we'd already moved to this smaller apartment, but they left a message with the neighbors. They want me to pay Robert's debt." "How much does he owe?" $5,000. The amount was absurd for someone in Amanda's situation. Even working at the store and the sewing factory, it would take years to save that much. "Amanda, you can't pay a debt that isn't yours." "I know. But they won't understand that. To them, the wife and kids are just an extension of the debtor. Michael grew thoughtful. He'd heard stories of loan sharks going after entire families over unpaid debts. What are you going to do? I don't know. Robert said we might have to leave town too. But I don't have money to move and I don't know anyone in other places. And taking the kids away from school, their friends. It's better than risking something happening to them, Amanda said, tears in her eyes. Just then, Ethan approached them. Mommy, why are you crying? I'm not crying, sweetheart. I just have a little grown-up problem. Is it about Daddy? A little, but don't worry. Mommy will figure it out. Ethan hugged his mother, showing maturity beyond his years. If you want, I can work too. I know where everything is in the store. The 4-year-old's offer made both Michael and Amanda smile through their tears. Thank you, sweetheart, but working is for grown-ups. You just need to be a kid and take care of your sister. Okay, Mommy. After Ethan walked away, Michael continued the conversation with Amanda. What kind of people are these that Robert owed money to? Dangerous people, loan sharks who lend money at sky-high interest rates. Robert borrowed $2,000 to try and start his own business, but it didn't work out. With the interest, the debt ballooned to $5,000 in less than a year. And they really go after the family? They do. That's how they pressure people. If they can't get to the debtor, they go after the family. Michael fell silent, for a few minutes trying to process the situation. Until then, he had only dealt with Amanda's family's poverty. Now he was facing something far more dangerous. Amanda, are you sure they know where you live now? Not yet, but it's only a matter of time. The neighborhood is small, everyone knows each other. If they start asking about me, someone will talk. How many people know you work here? A few. Why? Because if they find out, they might come here looking for you. Amanda turned pale. Oh my God, Michael. I didn't think of that. I might be putting you in danger too. Don't worry about me, I'm worried about you. Maybe I should stop working here, at least until this situation is resolved. No, you need the money, and I need your help. We'll find a solution. Michael spent the rest of the day thinking about the situation. It wasn't just about helping a family in need anymore. There was real danger involved. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. That night, Michael talked to Jennifer about what he had learned. Michael, this is getting dangerous. Maybe you should step back from this, Jennifer said, worried. I can't abandon them now, Jennifer, especially now that they're in danger. But we have to think about our safety too. What if those men show up at the store? The store is on a busy street. There are always people around. I don't think they'd do anything in broad daylight. You don't know that for sure. I don't. But Jennifer, you saw those children just like I did. If we don't help, who will? Jennifer sighed, recognizing her husband's determination. Fine. But promise me that if things get too dangerous, you'll reconsider. I promise. The following Friday, Amanda arrived at work even more tense. All morning she had kept looking over her shoulder, as if expecting to see someone following her. Did something else happen? Michael asked. A neighbor said some strange men were asking about me yesterday in the neighborhood. They said they were Robert's friends. And you think they're the loan sharks? I'm sure of it. Robert's real friends know he's not in town. Michael watched Ethan and Emma playing in the back of the store, oblivious to the danger looming over them. It was infuriating to think that such small, innocent children could be targeted by dangerous people over a debt they had nothing to do with. Amanda, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before answering. Do you trust me? Of course I do. Why? Because I have an idea, but it'll require you to trust me completely, even if it seems crazy at first. What kind of idea? What if you and the kids came to stay at my house temporarily? Amanda looked at him as if he'd lost his mind. Michael, that's impossible. I can't invade your home with 2 children. It wouldn't be an invasion. It would be a temporary arrangement until things settle down. My house has a guest room we don't use and a separate bathroom. You'd have privacy. What about Jennifer? What will she think? I've already talked to her. At first she was hesitant, but when I explained the situation, she agreed. Michael, this is so kind of you, but I can't accept. Why not? Because it's not right. You barely know me. What if I bring trouble? To your home? Amanda, those men are looking for you in your neighborhood. At my place in a completely different area, you'd be safe at least for a while. And then what? I can't hide forever. Then we'll find a permanent solution. But first, we need to make sure you're safe. Amanda stayed silent for several minutes, clearly torn between gratitude and embarrassment. The kids won't understand why we have to leave home again. We'll explain it's just temporary, that you'll stay at Uncle Michael's for a few days. Uncle Michael? Amanda laughed, despite the tense situation. That's what they already call you, isn't it? It was true. Ethan and Emma had naturally started calling Michael Uncle, showing the affection they'd developed for him. Amanda, I know this seems like a lot, but think about the kids. They deserve to sleep peacefully without fear. All right, Amanda finally agreed, but under conditions. What conditions? First, I'll pay a small fee for staying. Not much, because I don't have it, but something symbolic. Amanda, no arguing. It's this or I won't accept. Second condition, I'll help with everything I can around the house, cleaning, cooking, anything. And third, if at any point you want us to leave, just say so. No hard feelings. Fine, I accept the conditions. When can you move in? Today, if possible. The longer we stay at the apartment, the higher the risk they'll find out where we live. Perfect. After I close the hardware store, I'll go with you to get your things. Michael, thank you. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. You don't have to repay anything. We help each other, remember? That evening, Michael went with Amanda and the kids to the apartment to gather the most essential things. It was surprising how all their belongings fit into just 2 bags and a small suitcase. There wasn't much to take anyway. On the way back, Ethan asked a question that caught everyone off guard. Uncle Michael, are we staying at your house because the bad men want to hurt Mommy? Michael and Amanda exchanged worried looks. The kids were picking up on more than they let on. How do you know that, Ethan? Amanda asked. I heard Aunt Nancy talking to the lady in apartment 302. She said some men were asking about Mommy and that they seemed dangerous. Ethan, there are no bad men trying to hurt Mommy, Amanda lied, trying to protect her son. Mommy, Daddy had to leave because of the bad men. Now we have to leave too. I know something's wrong. Ethan's maturity was both impressive and heartbreaking. A 4-year-old shouldn't have to deal with these worries. Ethan, it's true there are some people who want to talk to Mommy about Daddy, Michael explained carefully. But they're not necessarily bad. Mommy just wants to make sure you're safe before she talks to them. And at your house, we'll be safe. You will? And it'll only be for a few days until everything gets sorted out. Okay, Uncle Michael. I'll take care of Emma so we don't cause any trouble. You're a very brave boy, Ethan. When they arrived at Michael's house, Jennifer greeted them with a warm smile, but Michael could sense the tension behind her kindness. This was new for everyone. Ethan, Emma, I'm so glad you came to visit us, Jennifer said, kneeling to the kids' level. Aunt Jennifer, are we sleeping here tonight? Emma asked, excited by the new experience. Yes, you are. I prepared a special room for you. Jennifer showed the guest room, which had been lovingly arranged. She had managed to borrow a single bed for the children and had decorated the space with some toys and children's books. Wow, what a beautiful room, Ethan exclaimed. It's just like a hotel, Emma added. The children's reaction delighted Jennifer, who had spent the whole afternoon nervous about the situation. Amanda, your room is right here, Jennifer said, showing the room next door. It has its own bathroom and everything. Jennifer, I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me. We women have to help each other, right? During dinner, the children behaved impeccably, complimenting the food and helping to clear the table. Jennifer, who had no children of her own, was charmed by their manners and warmth. How did you learn to be so polite? Jennifer asked. Mom taught us, Ethan replied. She always says good manners don't cost a thing and are the most important gift she can give us. Your mom is absolutely right. After dinner at bedtime, Emma asked Amanda to read a story. Everyone gathered in the children's room to listen to Beauty and the Beast, as had become their tradition. Michael watched the scene. Amanda sitting on the bed with the two children snuggled beside her, Jennifer in a chair nearby, listening intently. There was something very special about that moment, a sense of family he couldn't quite explain. Once the children had fallen asleep, the three adults gathered in the living room to discuss the situation. "Amanda, do you have any idea how long this might take to resolve?" Jennifer asked. "Honestly, I don't know. It depends on so many things. If Robert can settle somewhere and send enough money for me to start paying off the debt, maybe they'll stop coming after me. And if he can't, then I'll have to make a tough decision, maybe leave town with the kids." "Where would you go?" "I have a distant aunt in Colorado. She lives in a small rural town. Maybe we could start over there." "And leave everything behind?" Michael asked. "I don't have much to leave behind," Amanda replied sadly. "The job at the sewing factory, I could find another one like it anywhere. And the work at your store, well, it was wonderful while it lasted." "Amanda, you're not leaving the job at the store. We'll find a solution for this." "Michael, you've already done so much for us. I can't ask for anything more." "You're not asking, I'm offering." Jennifer listened to the conversation with growing interest. She was beginning to understand why her husband had become so involved with this family. "Amanda, can I ask you a personal question?" Jennifer said. "Of course." "Do you still love Robert, after everything that's happened?" The question caught Amanda off guard. She took a few moments to think before answering. "It's complicated. I love the father of my children, the man he used to be, but I'm deeply hurt by the choices he made. Borrowing money from loan sharks was reckless, and leaving us here alone to deal with the consequences." "You're angry with him." "I am very, but I also understand he was desperate. The business we tried to start was our chance to escape poverty. When it failed, he panicked." "What kind of business was it?" "An electronic repair shop. Robert was always good with that kind of thing. We thought it could work." "And it didn't?" "No, we didn't get enough customers to cover expenses. Within 6 months, we'd lost all the money we invested." "And that's when he went to the loan sharks?" "Yes. He said it was just to hold on a few more months until the business took off, but it never did." Michael listened carefully, trying to understand every aspect of the situation. "Amanda, these loan sharks, are they violent?" "I don't know. I've never had direct contact with them. But Robert got really scared when they started making threats." "What kind of threats?" "They said they'd collect the debt from the whole family if he didn't pay, and that they knew people who could find out where we lived." "Is that what made him leave town?" "Yes. He said he couldn't risk something happening to me or the kids." Jennifer and Michael exchanged worried glances. The situation was more serious than they'd imagined. "Amanda, have you thought about going to the police?" Jennifer suggested. "I have, but what would I say? That my husband owes money to loan sharks and ran away? The police can't do much in these cases, and I might even make things worse." "How so, worse?" "If the loan sharks find out I went to the police, they might get more aggressive. It's better to try resolving this peacefully." "By paying the debt?" "If I can get the money, yes." Michael grew thoughtful. $5,000 was a considerable amount, but not impossible. He had some savings, and the hardware store, though not very profitable, allowed for a modest reserve. "Amanda, what if I lent you the money to settle the debt?" The two women looked at him in surprise. "Michael, have you lost your mind?" Jennifer said. "I haven't. I'm thinking rationally. If she pays off the debt, the problem is solved for good." "And if she can't pay you back?" "Amanda's a hard worker. She can pay me back little by little. No rush." "Michael, I can't accept this," Amanda said. $5,000 is a lot of money. What if something happens to me? How would you get the money back?" "Amanda, how much do you earn working at the factory and the store?" $600 at the factory, $200 here with you, $800 in total." "And how much do you spend on rent and basic expenses?" "About $500. That leaves $300. If you pay me $200 a month, you'll settle the debt in 2 years. Is that reasonable?" Amanda did the math in her head. That'd leave only $100 a month for unexpected expenses with the kids. That's too little. "Then pay me $150. You'll settle it in 3 years. "Michael," Jennifer interjected, You're committing to a 3-year debt with someone you've known for less than 2 months. Jennifer, you've seen how she works. You've seen how she takes care of the kids. Do you really think someone like that would skip out on me? Jennifer looked at Amanda, studying her carefully. Amanda, are you an honest person? I am, Amanda answered without hesitation. I may be poor, I may have problems, but I've always been honest. And do you give me your word that you'll pay back this loan no matter how long it takes? I give you my word. And more, if for some reason I can't pay in cash, I'll work it off, even if I have to work for free at the store for years. Jennifer was impressed by the determination in Amanda's voice. All right, I agree to the loan, but with some conditions. What conditions? Michael and Amanda asked at the same time. First, everything documented, a signed contract with witnesses. Second, if you miss more than 3 payments in a row, we renegotiate the terms. Third, you keep living here until we're sure the situation is completely resolved. Jennifer, Amanda began, no arguing. The kids are safe here, you're safe here, and honestly, it's been nice having you at home. Really, really. Michael and I have wanted kids for a long time, but we never could. Having Ethan and Emma here has been special. Amanda started crying, moved by the couple's generosity. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. Repay us by being a good mother to those wonderful kids and staying an honest person, Jennifer said. That's all we need. The next day, Michael went to the bank to withdraw the $5,000. It was practically all of their emergency savings, but he felt confident in the decision. Amanda had insisted on going with him to find the loan sharks and make the payment in person. Are you sure you want to come with me? Michael asked. I can do this alone. No, I need to be there. I need to look them in the eye and make sure the debt is really settled. What if they ask where the money came from? I'll tell the truth that I got a loan from a friend. All right, but if I sense things are getting dangerous, we leave immediately. Deal. They left the kids with Jennifer and went to the bar where, according to the information Amanda had gathered, the loan sharks usually met their clients. The place was a simple tavern in a working-class neighborhood, with plastic tables and a crowd that seemed to know each other. When Amanda walked in, followed by Michael, the conversations quieted and curious glances turned their way. Do you know who these men are? Michael whispered. Mr. Frank, the bar owner, is the middleman. He's the one I need to talk to. Amanda approached the counter, where a middle-aged man with a prominent belly and a stern expression was drying glasses with a cloth. Mr. Frank, I'm Amanda, Robert's wife. The man looked her up and down before answering. You're the wife of the deadbeat. He's not a deadbeat. He's just going through a rough patch. A rough patch that's lasted over 6 months, the man grumbled. The bosses are getting impatient. That's why I'm here. I came to settle the debt. The man stopped drying the glass and looked at her in surprise. Settle it? You have all the money? I do. $5,000. $5,000? Mr. Frank glanced at Michael, who stood silently beside Amanda. And who's he? A friend who loaned me the money. Generous friend, the man remarked sarcastically. Hold on. Mr. Frank walked to a table at the back of the bar, where 2 men were playing dominoes. He spoke to them in low tones for a few minutes before returning. The bosses want to see the money before they sign off on the debt. Fine, Amanda said, nodding to Michael. Michael opened the backpack he was carrying and discreetly showed the stacks of cash. Mr. Frank's eyes gleamed at the sight of the bills. Is it all there? It is. Count it if you want. Oh, I will, and you'll wait while I confirm with the bosses that everything's in order. The whole process took nearly an hour. During that time, Michael and Amanda sat at a table watching the bar's activity and trying not to show their nerves. Finally, Mr. Frank returned with a paper in hand. It's all settled. Here's the release. Robert's debt is paid. You don't owe anyone anything. Amanda took the paper with trembling hands. It was a simple document, but it meant the end of a nightmare. And Robert, can he come home now? He can. There's nothing against him here anymore. Thank you, Amanda said, carefully tucking away the document. Just one thing, Mr. Frank added. Next time you need money, remember we're here. We're always willing to help hard-working folks. There won't be a next time, Amanda said firmly. You never know. the man replied with an unfriendly smile. Michael and Amanda left the bar in silence, both relieved it had ended without further trouble. Only when they were far from the place did Amanda let her emotions show. "It's over, Michael, it's really over." "It is. Now you can live in peace. Thanks to you and Jennifer. I'll never forget this." On the way back, Amanda called Robert to give him the news. The conversation was emotional, with tears of relief on both ends. "Is he coming home?" asked Michael. "He wants to come back, but I don't know if I want him back." "Why?" "Because during these months, I discovered I'm stronger than I thought. I managed to take care of the kids alone. I got a job, I made it work. And he abandoned us when things got tough, but he did it to protect you." "He did, but he also did it out of fear. And I don't know if I can trust him again not to make the wrong decisions when things get hard." "It's a very personal decision, Amanda. Only you can make it." "I know, and I'll need time to think." When they got home, they found Jennifer playing with the kids in the backyard. Ethan had built a tower with wooden blocks, and Emma was trying to add more pieces without knocking it all down. "So, how did it go?" Jennifer asked eagerly. "Everything's settled. The debt is paid off," Amanda replied, showing the document. "What a relief," Jennifer sighed. "Mom, can Dad come home now?" asked Ethan, who had overheard the conversation. "Yes, sweetheart, but we still don't know when he'll be back. I want him to come back soon. I want to show him Uncle Michael's store and all the friends we've made." Ethan's innocence touched the adults. To him, life had gotten much better these past few months, and he wanted to share that joy with his father. "Ethan, how have you liked living here at Uncle Michael and Aunt Jennifer's house?" Amanda asked. "It's great. Aunt Jennifer makes yummy food. There's a big backyard to play in, and my room has a bed just for me." For a child who had shared a bed with his sister and sometimes even his mom in their small apartment, having his own bed was an extraordinary luxury. "What about you, Emma? Have you liked staying here?" "I have. Aunt Jennifer taught me how to make cookies yesterday. And she said when I grow up, she'll teach me how to bake a cake too." Jennifer smiled, moved. In just a few days, these children had filled a void she hadn't even known existed in her life. That night at dinner, Amanda made an announcement. "I want to thank both of you, not just for lending us the money, but for opening your lives to us. You saved us from a very dangerous situation. We're the ones who should be thanking you," Jennifer said. "Having you here has brought a joy to our home we didn't even realize was missing. Still, I know we can't overstay our welcome. Tomorrow I'll start looking for an apartment for us to move into." "Why the rush?" Michael asked. "Because you've already done so much for us, and because I need to prove to myself that I can take care of the kids on my own." "Amanda," Jennifer said, "you've already proven that. But if you really want to move, at least let us help you find a good, safe place." "That would be great. I don't know the city neighborhoods well." "And don't forget," Michael added, "you're still working at the store. Now with even more peace of mind since you don't have to worry about loan sharks." "About that, Michael, I was thinking, what if I worked more days a week? I want to pay you back as fast as possible." "Amanda, you already work 5 days at the factory and 2 at the store. When will you rest?" "I rest when I need to, but right now I want to work. I want to feel productive and independent." Michael and Jennifer exchanged glances. They recognized Amanda's determination and knew it would be pointless to try to dissuade her. "All right," Michael agreed. "How about working Tuesday and Thursday afternoons too? 3 hours a day for $40. "Perfect. That way I can pay you $200 a month and settle the debt in less than 3 years. "What about the kids?" Jennifer asked. "On Tuesdays and Thursdays they stay at daycare later. It's just a matter of arranging it." The following week, Amanda began searching for a new apartment. With Jennifer's help, she visited several places, always considering safety, proximity to the children's school, and cost. Finally, they found a 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood, not too far from Michael's store. The rent was a bit higher than before, but with the extra money Amanda would earn by working more days at the store, she could manage it. "This is it," Amanda said, looking at the empty apartment. "It's perfect for the 3 of us." "Are you sure?" Jennifer asked. "You know you can stay at our place as long as you need." I'm sure it's time for us to start our lives independently. The move happened the following Saturday with Michael and Jennifer's help. Since Amanda didn't have much furniture, they contributed some unused pieces from their own home. A dining table, a few chairs, and kitchen utensils. Ethan and Emma were excited about the move, especially because they would each have their own room, even if small. "Mom, can I paint my room blue?" Ethan asked. "Of course. And you, Emma? What color do you want?" "Pink," the little girl answered without hesitation. "Pink it is then." Michael watched the family settling into their new home with mixed emotions. Joy at seeing them gain independence, but sadness at no longer having them around every day. "Michael," Amanda said, approaching him, "thank you for everything. None of this would have been possible without you." "Amanda, you earned this through your own hard work and determination. I just lent you the money." "You did much. More than that. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." The following Monday, Amanda started her new routine: the sewing factory in the mornings, the store on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays in the afternoons. It was a demanding schedule, but she was determined to prove she could handle it all. The children adjusted well to their new life. Ethan befriended a boy his age who lived next door, and Emma found a 3-year-old girl in the same building to play with. 3 weeks after the move, Amanda received a call that would change everything again. Robert was coming back to town. "When does he arrive?" Jennifer asked when Amanda shared the news at the store. "Tomorrow night. He got a ride with a truck driver." "And how do you feel?" "Nervous, anxious, confused." "Do the kids know?" "They do. They're excited, especially Ethan. He won't stop talking about all the things he wants to show his dad." "And you? What do you want to show him?" Amanda thought for a few moments before answering. "I want to show him that I've changed, that I'm not the fragile woman who depended on him for everything. I want him to see that I'm capable of taking care of our family on my own if I have to, and if he wants things to go back to how they were, then he'll have to accept that it's not possible. I'm not the same person anymore." The next evening, Michael was closing the store when he saw a man approaching. He was thin, with unshaven stubble and wrinkled clothes, carrying an old backpack. By his features, Michael guessed who he was. "You must be Michael," the man said, extending his hand. "And you must be Robert. Amanda's told me a lot about you." "I imagine, and I doubt it was all good. She's worried about you all. It's natural she'd feel some resentment." "I understand. I came to thank you for everything you've done for my family." "No need to thank me. Your wife is an exceptional person, and your kids are wonderful. It was a pleasure to help." "Amanda told me about the loan. I want to take on the debt." "It's my responsibility, not hers." "Robert, the debt is already being paid. Amanda's working to settle it. I won't change the agreement now." "But I'm the man of the family. I should be the one paying the bills." "With all due respect, Robert, but for the past few months it's been Amanda who's been the man of the family, and she did an excellent job." Robert fell silent, clearly bothered by the remark. "I had no choice. I had to protect them." "I know, and you did what you thought was best at the time. But now things have changed. Amanda has changed." "How has she changed?" "She's discovered she's stronger and more capable than she ever imagined. She found out she can support herself and the kids on her own. That changes a person." "Are you saying she won't want to stay with me?" "I'm saying she won't accept being treated like someone who can't make important decisions about her own life." Robert absorbed Michael's words in silence. "Can I ask for some advice?" "Of course. What would you do in my place?" "I'd go home, hug my family, and apologize. After that, I'd ask what I can do to deserve a second chance, and I'd accept whatever answer they gave me." "What if the answer is there's no second chance?" "Then you'd have to accept it and find a way to be the best father you can be for your kids, even if you can't be your wife's husband." Robert let out a deep sigh. "Do you think I ruined everything?" "I think you made mistakes. But mistakes can be forgiven, as long as the person shows they've learned from them. Thank you for your honesty, and thank you for looking after my family when I couldn't. They'll always have a special place in my life, Robert. I hope you understand." That. I do, and I'm grateful for it. The two men said goodbye with a firm handshake. Michael watched as Robert walked away toward the apartment where his family was waiting. The next morning, Amanda arrived at work with dark circles under her eyes and a tired expression. "How did the reunion go?" Michael asked. "Complicated." The kids were overjoyed. They wouldn't stop showing him things, telling him about everything that happened while he was gone. "And between the two of you?" "Hard. We talked late into the night. He apologized, said he wants to start over, that he's learned from his mistakes." "Do you believe him?" "Part of me wants to. But another part is scared. Scared to trust again. And be disappointed. That fear is natural." "Michael, can I tell you something? Something I haven't even told Jennifer?" "Of course. During these months without Robert, I discovered who I am as a person. For the first time in my life, I was responsible for every decision, every consequence, and I found out I'm good at it. You're great at it. The problem is now I don't know if I want to go back to sharing those decisions. I don't know if I want to depend on someone again. Amanda, marriage doesn't have to be about dependence. It can be about partnership. Two independent people choosing to share their lives. What's your marriage with Jennifer like?" Michael thought for a few minutes. "Jennifer and I are very different, but we complement each other. I'm more impulsive. She's more cautious. I'm more emotional. She's more rational. We discuss important decisions, but we each keep our individuality. Do you argue?" "We do. Sometimes badly, but always with respect, and always remembering we're on the same side. Robert and I, we never learned how to argue properly. Either we avoided conflict or everything exploded at once. That can be learned if both of you want to. Do you think I should give him a second chance?" "Amanda, I can't make that decision for you. But I can tell you this. You're not the same woman he left here months ago. If you two get back together, it'll have to be on a completely new foundation. What if he doesn't accept that new foundation? Then you'll have your answer about the future of the relationship." Over the following weeks, Amanda and Robert tried to rebuild their relationship. He got a job at an auto repair shop and started contributing financially to the household again. But tensions were constant. Robert wanted to take back the role of head of the family, making decisions about money, the kids, and the future. Amanda resisted, insisting they should decide everything together. Amanda has been coming to work really tense lately. Jennifer commented to Michael, "I think things aren't going well at home. Did she say anything to you?" "She mentioned Robert is having a hard time accepting that she's changed, that he wants everything to go back to how it was before. And that's impossible." "Exactly. People don't go back after discovering what they're capable of." The situation reached its breaking point one Friday afternoon. Amanda arrived at the store visibly upset, her eyes red from crying. "What happened?" Michael asked, concerned. "Robert said I have to choose. Either I quit working here or he leaves again." "Why does he want you to quit?" "Because he thinks I don't need to work weekends anymore. That his salary is enough for us to live on. And because he's jealous of my relationship with you all. Jealous. He thinks I care more about you than him, that the kids like you more than him." Michael sighed. It was a complicated situation, but unfortunately not unexpected. "What did you say? That I won't quit? That I like my job, that I need the money to pay off the loan, and that you've become our family? Not friends, family, And him?" He got furious, said if I don't leave the store, he'll walk out again, and this time for good. Amanda started crying, and Michael stepped closer to comfort her. "Amanda, you know whatever you decide, we'll support you. If you want to stay with him and leave the job, we understand, but I don't want to quit, Michael. For the first time in my life, I have something that's just mine. A place where I'm respected, where I'm good at what I do, then don't leave, Fensna. But what if he really walks out? What if the kids lose their father again? Amanda, what kind of father abandons his kids because he can't control his wife?" "You're right. I know you're right. But it's so hard. It is hard. But you've faced tough things before and come out stronger." That night, when Amanda got home, she found Robert packing his things. "Are you really leaving?" she asked. You made your choice. You picked them over me. I didn't pick anyone, Robert. I chose myself. I chose to be independent and responsible. It's the same thing. No, it's not. I can be independent and still be married to you. But you have to accept that I've changed. I can't accept that my wife prefers working at a store over taking care of the house and kids. Robert, I work 30 hours a week at the store. That leaves 138 hours to take care of the house and kids. It's not like I'm abandoning my family. But you could spend those 30 hours with us. And you work 40 hours a week at the shop. Why can you work outside the home and I can't? Because I'm the man. It's my responsibility to provide for the family. And isn't it my responsibility too? Isn't it my responsibility to pay off the debt we took on because of your bad decisions? The question hit Robert hard. He stopped packing and looked at Amanda. Are you going to hold that over me forever? No, but I won't pretend it. Didn't happen either. I want you to understand that your decisions affect the whole family. And next time something important needs to be decided, I want to be part of the decision. What if I can't accept that? Then you really have to leave, because I won't go back to being the submissive woman I was before. Robert finished packing his clothes and headed for the door. Daddy, are you going away again? Asked Ethan, who had appeared in the living room. Yes, son. For how long? Robert looked at Amanda, then at his son. I don't know, Ethan. Maybe for a long time. Why do you always leave when we need you? The most? The boy asked, tears in his eyes. Ethan's innocent question echoed through the apartment like a gunshot. Robert knelt in front of his son. Sometimes adults do things that are hard to understand, Ethan. But I do understand, Daddy. You leave because you don't like us. That's not true, son. I love you both very much. Then why are you leaving? Robert couldn't answer. He kissed his son's forehead and left the apartment without looking back. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. Amanda was left alone with the two children who couldn't understand why their father had left again. It was a difficult night, filled with tears and unanswered questions. The next morning, Amanda arrived at work with a determined expression Michael hadn't seen before. How are you? He asked. I'm okay. Better than I expected, actually. Did Robert really leave? Yes, and you know what? I feel relieved. Relieved? Yes, for months I lived in fear of making the wrong decision, of pushing him away from the family. Now I know the decision was his. He chose pride over family. And the kids? They're sad, of course, but they're strong. And this time, I'll be able to explain to them better what happened. How will you explain it? I'll tell them the truth, that sometimes grown-ups can't agree on how to live together, and that it doesn't mean Daddy doesn't love them. Do you think he'll come back? Maybe, but if he does, it'll have to be on my terms. I won't give up who I've become just to please anyone. Over the following months, Amanda focused on building a stable life for herself and the children. She increased her hours at the store, now working 4 days a week, in addition to her job at the sewing factory. Ethan and Emma adjusted surprisingly well to their father's absence. They mentioned him occasionally, but without the deep sadness Amanda had feared. Mommy, Emma said one day, Daddy doesn't like working, does he? Why do you think that, sweetheart? Because he always leaves when he has to work to take care of us. But you and Uncle Michael like working. The 4-year-old's observation hit Amanda like a punch to the gut. The children understood the situation better than she'd imagined. Sweetheart, it's not that Daddy doesn't like working. It's just that he hasn't learned yet that when you have a family, you work as a team. Like you and Uncle Michael. Do? Yeah, something like that. The comparison made Amanda reflect on her relationship with Michael and Jennifer. They really had become a team, an unconventional but genuine family. Michael and Jennifer naturally took part in the children's lives. They attended school meetings when Amanda couldn't, helped with homework, and took the kids to the doctor when needed. One day, Ethan came home from school with a drawing he'd made in art class. Who's that for? Amanda asked. It's for my family, Ethan replied, holding up the paper. In the drawing, there were 5 figures, a woman, clearly Amanda, 2 small children, a man in an apron, Michael, and another woman, Jennifer. There was no figure representing Robert. Ethan, where's Daddy in the drawing? Daddy doesn't live with us, so he's not in my everyday family. The simplicity of the explanation deeply moved Amanda. For the children, family was whoever was present in their daily lives, whoever participated in their everyday routines. 6 months after Robert left, Amanda received a call from him. He was calling from another city, where he had found a better job. How are the kids? He asked. Well, they're fine, growing, learning. Ethan is reading on his own now, and Emma has started doing simple math. Do they ask about me? Sometimes, but less and less. Amanda, I was thinking, maybe we could try again. I could come back and... Robert, Amanda interrupted. You can come back whenever you want to see the kids. They have the right to have contact with their father, but between us it's over. Why? We can talk, try to find a middle ground, because there's no middle ground between respect and disrespect, between partnership and control. I don't want to live in a relationship where I constantly have to fight to be respected as a person, but we have children together, and we'll always be their parents. But that doesn't mean we have to be husband and wife. Amanda, I've changed, I've learned. Maybe you have changed, but I've changed too. And the person I've become isn't compatible with the person you were when we were married. Not even compatible with the person I am now? Robert, you don't even know who I am now. You never tried to get to know the person I've become. You just wanted me to go back to who I was before. The conversation ended amicably, but definitively. Robert understood there would be no romantic reconciliation, but the door would always be open for him to maintain a relationship with the children. A year after Robert's final departure, Amanda had paid off more than half of her debt to Michael. Her work at the store had progressed so much that she practically managed the place on her own during her shifts. Amanda, Michael said, one day, I have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? How about becoming my business partner? Partner? How? You understand the business better than I do in many ways. You have an excellent relationship with the customers, and you're always suggesting improvements that boost sales. Michael, I don't have the money to buy part of the store. You don't need to buy it. You can earn your share through work. Let's say instead of paying me back the loan installments, you use that money to buy into the store. That's crazy. Why is it crazy? Because you'd be giving me something worth a lot of money for free. I wouldn't be giving it for free. I'd be recognizing the value of your work and dedication. Amanda fell silent for a few minutes, processing the offer. What would my percentage be? How about we start with 20%? If things go well, we can increase it later. And Jennifer agrees with this? Jennifer was the one who suggested it. Amanda was moved. It was an opportunity she'd never imagined she could have. Can I think about it? Of course. But Amanda, remember when you said you wanted to be an independent, responsible person? This is your chance to be a business owner. That night, Amanda talked to the kids about the offer. Mommy, what does it mean to be Uncle Michael's partner? Ethan asked. It means the store will be a little bit mine too, that I'll help make important decisions about the business. Like you do at home, you make the important decisions for our family? Exactly, it would be the same, but with the store. So you're going to be the boss of the store? Asked Emma. I'll be one of the bosses, Uncle Michael, and I will be bosses together. Is that good? It's very good. It means we'll have more money and more security. And does it mean we'll never have to eat just watery soup again? Asked Ethan, remembering the hard times. It means we'll never have to go without again, Amanda confirmed. The next day, Amanda gave her answer. I accept the partnership, but on one condition. What is it? I want everything properly documented. Contract, responsibilities, profit sharing, everything crystal clear. Of course, I wouldn't expect anything less from you. And I want to keep paying back the original loan. The partnership is one thing, the debt is another. Amanda, no arguing. I insist on honoring my commitments. And so began a new chapter in Amanda's life. From employee, she became a partner. From a dependent woman, she became a business owner. From a victim of circumstances, she became the protagonist of her own story. The transformation of the store was impressive. With Amanda as a partner, revenue increased significantly. She implemented a personalized customer service system, built partnerships with local construction workers and plumbers, and even started offering small renovation consulting services. The children continued visiting the store, now not just as visitors, but as the daughters of one of the owners. They helped where they could and were beloved by all the regular customers. 2 years after becoming a partner, Amanda got a surprise. Robert showed up at the store. "Can I talk to you?" he asked. "Sure, but make it quick, I'm working." "I came because I want to see the kids. It's been so long. They're at school, but they can come here after class, if you'd like." "Amanda, I also wanted to apologize to you for real this time." "Robert, let me speak. I spent 2 years away, working, thinking, growing, and I finally understood what you were trying to tell me." "And what was I trying to tell you?" "That you had the right to be yourself. That you didn't exist just to be my wife and the mother of my kids. That you were a whole person with your own dreams and ambitions." Amanda was surprised by the maturity of his answer. "And what made you realize that?" "Life. I met other women, other families. I saw how real couples interact, and I realized I was a controlling idiot who wanted a maid, not a wife. Robert, I'm glad you learned that, but it doesn't change anything between us. I know, I'm not here to win you back. I'm here to try to earn back my kids' respect. They ask about you sometimes. And what do you say? I tell them you're working far away but that you love them, because I believe that's true. It is true. I love them so much, and I regret every day letting pride speak louder than love. You can visit them whenever you want, Robert, but you have to be consistent. You can't show up, raise their hopes, and then disappear again. I understand. And are you happy?" Amanda looked around the store, her store, then thought of the kids who'd be arriving from school soon. "I am very happy. For the first time in my life, I know who I am and what I'm capable of. I'm happy for you, truly." When Ethan and Emma came home from school and saw their father at the store, their reaction was surprise, but not the excitement Amanda had expected. "Hi, Dad," said Ethan, greeting him politely. "Hi." "Ethan, wow, you've grown so much." I'm 7 now and I can read stories to Emma. "And you, Emma? Do you remember Dad?" "I do, you're the one who always leaves." The 5-year-old's answer was direct and painful. Robert had to hold back tears. "That's true, Emma. I left a few times, but now I want to stay close to you all." "You're going to live with us again?" Ethan asked. "No, I'll live somewhere else, but I can visit you often." "Like Uncle Michael and Aunt Jennifer. They don't live with us, but we see them all the time." "Yeah, something like that." During the visit, Robert watched how the kids behaved in the store. They knew every product, greeted customers, and helped keep things organized. It was clear this place was an extension of their home. "Mom, can I show Dad our playroom?" Emma asked. "Of course." Emma led Robert to the back of the store, where there was a tidy space with toys, books, and even a little table where they did homework when needed. "This is where we play when Mom's working. Uncle Michael made this special table for us." Robert looked around, clearly moved. It was obvious his kids were loved and cared for, even in his absence. "This is really nice," he said. "Do you like being here?" "We love it," Ethan replied. "Here we learn about Mom's work, how to help customers, how to take care of a store. And when we grow up, we'll work here too," Emma added. The kids' vision for the future was clear. They saw themselves as part of this business, this extended family that had formed. When the visit ended, Robert said goodbye, promising to return next weekend. "Amanda," he said before leaving, "thank you for creating such a good environment for them. I didn't do it alone. Michael and Jennifer are a big part of their lives." "I know, and I'm grateful for that. Better they're loved by many people than raised by troubled parents." "You're not a troubled parent, Robert. You're a father who made mistakes and is learning from them." "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you forgive me for the wrong choices, for abandoning you all, for being so controlling?" Amanda thought carefully before answering. "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I need to. Holding on to resentment only hurts me." "Thank you. That means a lot to me." After Robert left, Michael approached Amanda. "How did it go?" "Better than I expected. He really seems to have changed." And the kids? They were polite but distant. I think they'll need time to build a relationship with him. And you? How did you feel seeing him again? Strangely, nothing. No anger, no longing, no regret. Just nothing. Is that good or bad? It's good. It means I've truly moved on from that chapter of my life. Over the next few months, Robert kept his visits regular. Gradually, the kids grew used to his presence and began building a new relationship with him, different from before. He wasn't the father who lived with them anymore, but a paternal figure who played a limited, yet consistent role in their lives. And to everyone's surprise, it worked well. One day, 3 years after becoming a partner in the store, Amanda received an unexpected offer. "Amanda," Michael said, "Jennifer and I have been thinking about retiring." "Retiring? You're too young to retire." "Not completely, but slowing down. Maybe traveling a bit, spending more time together." "And the store?" "That's where the offer comes in. How about you take over full management? We'll keep a small share, but you'd be in charge of everything." "Michael, it's recognizing what you already do in practice. The store is more yours than ours now. But I don't know if I have enough experience to run it all alone." "Amanda, you turned a neighborhood hardware store into a regional reference. You have all the experience you need." It was true. Over. The past few years, the store had grown exponentially. Amanda had implemented online sales, material deliveries, and partnerships with construction companies. What was once a family business had become a small enterprise. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. But while you think, consider this. Ethan and Emma are growing up seeing you as an example of an independent, entrepreneurial woman. What legacy do you want to leave for them?" The question touched Amanda deeply. She wanted her children to grow up knowing it was possible to overcome any hardship through honest work and determination. "Okay, I accept, but with conditions." "Name them." "First, you two remain partners. I don't want to take everything on alone. Second, I want to formalize a succession plan for the kids. If they want it, this could be theirs one day." "Perfect," Michael smiled. Couldn't have asked for a better answer. And so 5 years after walking into that store as a desperate woman begging for more time to pay a bill, Amanda became the primary manager of the business that had become the center of her new life. The transformation was complete. The fragile, dependent woman had become a respected business owner in the community. The children who once shared a thin soup now had every opportunity she had ever dreamed of giving them. But the greatest change had been internal. Amanda had discovered she was capable of far more than she'd ever imagined. She had learned that independence didn't mean loneliness, that strength didn't mean hardness, and that starting over didn't mean forgetting the past. One Saturday, 2 years after taking over the store, Amanda was organizing inventory when Ethan, now 10, approached her. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetheart." "Are you happy?" The simple question made her pause. "Why do you ask?" "Because I was thinking. Before, when Dad lived with us, you always seemed worried. Now you smile more." "It's true, I'm very happy now. Even without a husband." "Ethan, happiness doesn't come from having a husband. It comes from being yourself, doing what you love, and being surrounded by people who love you." "And you have all that?" "I do. I have you two, who are the greatest love of my life. I have Uncle Michael and Aunt Jennifer, who are our heart family. I have this job, which gives me joy and purpose. And I have myself, and I like who I've become." "I like who you've become too," Ethan said, hugging his mother. Emma, who had been listening from a distance, joined the embrace. "Mum, when I grow up, I want to be just like you." "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "I want to be strong like you. I want to take care of the people I love like you take care of us. And I want to have a store like you," Ethan added, "or work here when I grow up." "You can be whatever you want," Amanda said, "but the most important thing is that you're happy and honest." Just then, Michael walked into the store carrying a chocolate cake. "What are we celebrating?" Amanda asked. 6 years since the day you knocked on our door asking for more time to pay a bill," Michael replied, smiling. "You remember the date?" Jennifer and I will never forget. It was the day our lives changed for the better. Our lives changed too, Ethan said. For the better, Michael asked. For much better, Emma answered. Before, we only had Mom. Now, we have a big family. Jennifer arrived just then, carrying plates and soda. Big family is an understatement, she said. You're the children I never had, but always wanted. And you're the kids' heart grandparents, Amanda added. As they shared the celebratory cake, Amanda looked around and realized just how completely her life had changed. The store that was once just the place where she worked had become the heart of a new family, built not by blood ties, but by bonds of love and mutual respect. Amanda, said Jennifer, can I tell you a secret? Of course. When Michael came home that first day talking about you all, I was jealous. Jealous? I thought he was getting too involved with a family that wasn't ours. I thought he was being naive. And now I know he was being wise. Sometimes we find our true family in the most unexpected places. Ethan raised his soda glass as if to make a toast. I want to say thank you, he said, with the seriousness of a child who had already seen too much in life. Thank you for what? Everyone asked. Thank you because when everything was bad, you showed up and made it all good. Thank you because now I know there'll always be someone looking out for us. And thank you because Mommy is really happy now, Emma added. Michael wiped away a stubborn tear. We're the ones who should be thanking you. You brought joy to our home, purpose to our lives. And success to our store, Jennifer joked. Ever since you arrived, sales keep growing. It's because the store has a soul now, said Amanda. Before it was just a business. Now it's the place where a family works together. When the small celebration ended and the children went to play in the store's backyard, Amanda stayed, alone for a few minutes, reflecting on the journey she had taken. 6 years earlier, she had knocked on that door as a desperate woman with no prospects, dependent on the kindness of strangers. Now she was a successful businesswoman, mother of 2 happy and secure children, surrounded by people who loved and respected her. The transformation hadn't been easy. There had been moments of pain, fear, and uncertainty. There had been the struggle to rebuild her self-esteem, to learn to trust herself, to accept that she deserved happiness. But every obstacle overcome had made her stronger. Every no life had given her, taught her to value the yeses that came her way. Every tear shed had watered the soil where her new self grew. Amanda realized her story wasn't just about overcoming poverty or escaping an abusive relationship. It was about discovering who she truly was when all external labels were stripped away. So-and-so's wife, someone's mother, someone else's daughter. When only Amanda remained, she found that Amanda was enough. She was smart, brave, hardworking, loving. She was capable of building a prosperous life with her own hands and raising children who would be examples of kindness and determination. The store that once represented just a source of income had become the symbol of her transformation. Every shelf organized, every customer helped, every business decision made was a declaration of her ability to be the author of her own story. And the children who once shared a thin soup as if it were a feast now had not just plenty of food on the table, but also solid proof that any hardship could be overcome through honest work and perseverance. But perhaps the most important thing was that Amanda had learned the difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone meant not having a romantic partner. Being lonely meant having no one who cared about you. Amanda was alone, but she was definitely not lonely. She was surrounded by love, support, people who celebrated her victories and comforted her in defeat. She had built a network of relationships based on mutual respect and genuine affection. When Robert reappeared, in her life as a changed man, she was able to forgive him and even allow him to rebuild his relationship with the children. But she felt no need to reverse her decision to move forward on her own. Some people are born knowing who they are. Others discover it through the circumstances life presents. Amanda belonged to the second group, and she was grateful for that. The journey of self-discovery had been painful, but it had also been liberating. She now knew she was capable of loving deeply without losing herself, of being a devoted mother while remaining an independent woman, of accepting help without sacrificing, dignity of forgiving without being naive. And above all, she knew happiness wasn't something that happened to her. It was something she built every day through her choices, her actions, and her relationships. As the sun began to set and it was time to close the hardware store, Amanda called the children. "Let's go home, guys." "This is our home," said Ethan, pointing to the store. "This is also our home," Amanda agreed. "We're lucky to have two homes, aren't we?" "And a big family," Emma added. "The biggest family in the world," Amanda laughed. As she locked the store's door, Amanda made a silent promise. She would never again let anyone or anything make her forget what she was capable of. Never again would she be a victim of other people's choices. Never again would she sacrifice her identity to please anyone. She had learned that true strength wasn't about never falling. It was about always getting back up. That true courage wasn't about feeling no fear, but acting in spite of it. That true independence wasn't about needing no one, but choosing whom to need. And most importantly, she had learned that self-love wasn't selfishness. It was the foundation of all other loves. Only those who truly love themselves can love others in a healthy way. Only those who respect themselves can teach others to respect them. Walking home with the children, each holding one of her hands, Amanda felt complete, not because she had everything she wanted, but because she had learned to want what she had. Not because her life was perfect, but because she had learned to find beauty in imperfection. The woman who had wept desperately that first night, sharing a thin bowl of soup with her children, had transformed into a woman who smiled genuinely while planning the prosperous future she would build for her family. And that transformation hadn't happened by magic or luck. It had happened through hard work, tough choices, the courage to change, the humility to accept help, and the determination to never give up. It was a story of new beginnings, resilience, and self-discovery. But above all, it was a story of love. Love for her children, love for her chosen family, love for her work, love for life. And when they got home that night, as the children did their homework at the living room table, and she prepared dinner in the well-equipped kitchen of their comfortable apartment, Amanda knew she had kept the promise she'd made to herself years ago. She had given her children not just plenty of food on the table, but also the example that it was possible to overcome any hardship. Ethan and Emma would grow up knowing their mother was a strong, independent, hard-working and loving woman. They would grow up knowing family wasn't just defined by blood, but by the bonds of the heart. They would grow up knowing honest work was the path to dignity, and that education was the most powerful tool to change their fortunes. And when they had children, they would tell the story of the grandmother who once knocked on the door of a hardware store, asking for more time to pay a bill, and found far more than she expected. She found a new life, a new family, and a new version of herself. It was a story worth telling, not because it had a guaranteed happy ending, but because it showed that happy endings were possible for those brave enough to fight for them. And Amanda, looking at her children doing their homework with dedication and thinking about the prosperous future still ahead of them, knew her story was only just beginning. The best chapters were yet to come. The end of the story. Now tell us what you thought of the story and where you're watching from. If you have something to share with us, leave your honest thoughts in the comments. Do you think Amanda made the right decisions? We'd love to hear your opinion. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories.